am Nisha Charles.
And I am Desmond Joseph.
And we are your presenters for today. Thank you for joining us for SAT TV News. Among the major developments, Disaster Management has scheduled a simulation exercise for Friday, December the 7th.
Barbados to receive $104 million Barbadian in new EU grant assistance.
Tanks deployed after fatal Cairo clashes.
And in sports, Dominica and St. Lucia battle for Windward Islands Cricket Championship title.
Details of these and other stories after the break. Thank you for staying with us. Now for the details of the news. Dominica ranks high in the world's e-government development ratings, according to Parliamentary Secretary in the Office of the Prime Minister responsible for Information Communication Technology, Honorable Kelvin Daru. He says the island has grown significantly from where it was 2 years ago. The information was revealed by Mr. Daru during the Electronic Government for Regional Integration Project EGRIP's Capacity Building and Training Workshop. The workshop showed the presence of stakeholders with responsibility for information and technology from countries within the Organization of Eastern Caribbean States who were gathered in Dominica to hold discussions on the implementation of the OECS EGRIP. Mr. Daru said that significant developments across all technology sectors have created greater opportunities for all governments to deliver high-quality service with ease.
According to the United Nations, Dominica was ranked 119 in the world in 2005 in the World E-Government Development Ranking. This jumped to 105 in 2010, and this year we are standing out in the Caribbean at 73. This has been the best improvement in any country's ranking in the world from 2010 to 2012. We look forward to even greater success in technological development with this project, the EGRIP. We are committed to work smarter and more effectively as we introduce technologies that streamline our business processes.
He mentioned that information and technology complementing each other are crucial to the ability to make informed and accurate decisions. He highlighted that the Dominica government has been creating an enabling environment for the adoption of e-government over the past few years with increasing success. EGRIP project manager Ms. Corinne Francis pointed out that one of the key deliverables coming from the training workshop is the definition of framework of total cost of ownership, analysis and optimization.
The benefits of this framework includes having a consistent systematic framework for comparing ICT alternatives and increasing productivity and reducing costs. As you know, at the national level, there are many ICT projects, and also the government gets funding from many sources. So it's important to be able to do the comparison. It also provides a standard methodology to track and compare ICT costs over a period of time, to measure the viability of capital investment in ICT projects, but most importantly, it focuses on the correlation of government assets and related systems with the total costs across all projects and processes, thereby providing the social costs and the benefits.
This is important as government needs to know what the benefits to them is directly, whether it is economically, financially, or socially associated with the ICT investments. The benefits of the Architectural Reference Model framework includes the provision of standards, solutions, and services across governments, a context for decision-making, and the assistance to ministry, departments, and agencies to develop ICT capabilities. She said this will promote the total link of governments, whereby governments will be able to communicate with all departments or ministries or agencies. Public Works Corporation Managing Consultant, Mr. Ayunava Mitra, highlighted that some of the goals of the e-government includes better coordination between agencies, improved efficiency of public service and delivery, and increased transparency, among others.
It takes in several components, which includes managing the information and records existing within your respective governments, leveraging the knowledge that exists within the various governments, managing the technology solutions, managing your information security, and of course, your business continuity planning.
The governments of the Commonwealth of Dominica, Grenada, St. Lucia, and St. Vincent and the Grenadines have each received soft loan financing in an amount equivalent to $2.4 million from the World Bank for implementation of the OECS Electronic Government for Regional Integration Project. The loans are provided under a special facility of concessional lending arm of the World Bank, the International Development Association. Additionally, $1.5 million was secured from the Caribbean Development Bank, which expanded the project to include Antigua and Barbuda and St. Kitts and Nevis. Monroe College is awarding scholarships to Dominican students to pursue studies in St. Lucia. This was announced at a press conference on Wednesday, December 5th, and is done in collaboration with the Roseau City Council. Monroe College was founded in 1933 and has grown to over 7,500 students coming from over 65 countries. Vice President of the college, Dr. Alex Ephraim, said the scholarships are given as part of the government of Dominica's goal to have at least one graduate per household by 2015.
So students can start in St. Lucia. The tuition is much cheaper in St. Lucia than if they go straight to New York. But then they can save money and they can transfer to New York. And they can complete their education there. And then they can work 1 year, the OPT, and get a New York experience. So when they come back to Dominica, they come with a lot of educational qualities and experience.
He says education is very flexible with Monroe College. They have decided to give 10 partial scholarships and 2 full-time scholarships to the students. Dr. Ephraim thanks the Ministry of Education and the City Council for working tirelessly in assisting Dominican students to succeed.
As the number increases, we'll be able to do more. So we want to establish a relationship also with the State College, an official agreement that when they finish 2 years, it's an automatic acceptance to Monroe College, and they will finish the rest of the 60 credits and they can graduate faster. So there are a lot of formalities are there, so we are putting that in place, an agreement between the government and Dominica and the State College and the Monroe College. So we provide some help, they provide some help. Together, all the young people are going to benefit from it.
This year, a number of Dominican students graduated from Monroe College, and of the top 2 students, one came from Dominica with a 4.0 grade point average. The Vice President says that the level of discipline from the Dominican students is encouraging for them, and this is why they like engaging students from here. Sandra studied hospitality management at the college and says the experience was a great one.
All about books, you have to enjoy yourself, and the staff makes you enjoy yourself at school because they're very friendly and they help you when you need the help, and you can, well, I told some of the students last night that you can trouble them, you can harass them, and they won't show you any bad face because they're there to help you. And the lecturers are very open with you. Some of them are motherly to you. They make sure you pass your courses.
And in more news, the directors, management and staff of the Anchorage Hotel, Whale Watch and Dive Center are deeply saddened by the fact that on Saturday, 1st December 2012, Ms. Casey Schulman, a cruise ship client on the MV Explorer and a guest on their catamaran sail and snorkel party cruise, had a freak accident off Mero Beach. Ms. Schulman sustained injuries and was pronounced dead on arrival at the Princess Margaret Hospital. This accident occurred notwithstanding that all standard operation and safety procedures were being employed by the captain and crew of the yacht Passion. Immediate contact was made by Mr. Andrew Amor, their captain of 30 years experience, with among others the ambulance services, and Ms. Schulman was transported to the hospital. Representatives from the Anchorage Hotel and Ms. Yvonne Amor, the managing director, also made immediate contact with the cruise ship, the representatives of the U.S. Embassy, and all relevant authorities. Both Yvonne and Andrew Moore have also been in contact with the family of Ms. Schulman. In the 40 years of its operations, the Anchorage Hotel Whale Watch and Dive Center has maintained an excellent accident-free record. The directors, management, and staff of the Anchorage Hotel Whale Watch and Dive Center are greatly saddened by this incident and extend heartfelt sympathy to the family and loved ones of Miss Casey Schulman.
And in more news, family life educator with the Dominica Planned Parenthood Association, Miss Annie St. Louis, is urging Dominicans, especially young people, to protect themselves when engaging in sexual activities. Ms. St. Louis says this is very important as there has been an increase in the number of people testing positive for the human immunodeficiency disease, HIV, in Dominica. She says what bothers them is the fact that young people are involved in a lot of risky behavior and practices which should stop immediately. Ms. St. Louis stated young people should engage themselves in activity which would not put them at risk.
For example, we have now an increase in alcohol intake in Dominica, and we know when people are drunk or when people are intoxicated that their attitudes are not inhibited. They find themselves involved in sex, sometimes even group sex, or sometimes put themselves in positions or situations where they can become victims of unwanted sexual advances, where they can be raped and so on. So looking at that type of behavior as well, knowing how to initiate partner condom use, because sometimes we have young people who are not able to say no. If you do not want to use a condom, then we're not going to have sex. So being able to initiate condom use with their partners, that is important as well.
The family life educator says young people need to educate themselves on what is going on, such as the sexually transmitted diseases, AIDS and HIV, and other consequences of having unprotected sex, so they can refrain from doing so with this knowledge. She is of the view that young people need to take their time before getting involved in sexual activities, as many of them think they are in love and need to have sex to please their partners, who they barely know, when it is only infatuation. This behavior, she says, is dangerous as no one has STIs, HIV, or AIDS written on their foreheads, so it is difficult to know who is infected.
So try not to engage in sexual activity before they're ready, because I always tell young people that sex in itself is something that it's almost like a full-time job, that you have to be thinking all the time, you have to be updated with information all of the time, you have to be responsible all of the time. And most of the time, they are not ready for that whole world of responsibility. So they have to look at their behaviors, they have to look at their attitude, they have to look at getting information and making informed decisions when it comes to their sexuality and their sexual and reproductive health. Because like everything else, we need to get ourselves informed. And SRH should be treated with in the same way.
She said the age of consent needs to be revised, as she is of the view that a young person cannot make the right sexual decisions at such a young age. Ms. St. Louis says there needs to be a lot more discussions with young people to educate them on sex so that they make informed decisions and act responsibly. She said this is important because if not addressed, it will lead to other issues young people face, and they need an avenue to express themselves to find solutions to their problems.
In my opinion, yes, there seem to be a breakdown in not just moral. There seem to be some people behave and they have a total disregard most of the time for other people and other people's opinions and other people's feelings. And I feel a little bit more because when I interact with the young people, I get that feeling. And I think that we have to relearn a lot of things in Dominica. For example, I work with young men a lot, and they refer to girls as things, and that thing, and that thing, and that thing. And I am having a hard time getting them to use the word girl.
If this is not addressed, it means that our grandchildren will come into a society which is chaotic when it relates to values and morals. Here is her message to young people on why they should protect themselves when engaging in sexual activities.
Protecting yourself from STI or unwanted pregnancy or HIV and AIDS, that is a choice that everybody should make as an individual. And it is important because when you do not protect yourself from these issues, you open yourself up to a whole other kind of wounds. being medicated for the rest of your life, not being able to have a healthy sexual lifestyle for the rest of your life. Because if you get infected with an STI like herpes or hepatitis B or HIV and AIDS or HPV, these are viruses, you have them for the viral infection, you have them for the rest of your life. And it means for the rest of your life, you're going to have to tell a sexual partner, I have this STI, I can infect you. And you may not be able to have a meaningful relationship because nobody wants to, in their right mind, willingly get infected.
Ms. St. Lucia is urging parents to step up their game in educating their children appropriately and be advocates for their children so they can make the right choices.
And in more news, a simulation exercise has been scheduled for Friday, December 7th in the Roseau area. All relevant personnel are asked to be on alert. This was announced at a press conference held by the Dominica Red Cross and Disaster Management. Mr. Don Corriett, acting coordinator of the Disaster Management, says the office has developed a 5-year country program which seeks to integrate comprehensive disaster management, CDM, into ministerial, sectorial, and community disaster plans by 2016.
The specific objectives of that strategy is to guide public service departments and sectors in the development and exercising of disaster management plans, to provide training in emergency operating center management, to guide communities in the development and exercising of their community disaster plans, and to provide training in disaster management and operations at the community level.
This would enhance and strengthen disaster management throughout the state. The low-level national simulation exercise is necessary because Dominica has not executed such an exercise since 1999. Mr. Corriett mentioned that the last time it involved seismic activity in the south of the island, where there was an evacuation of the villages of Scottshead, Soufriere, and surrounding villages with the participation of regional security services.
The scenario tomorrow speaks of maybe an earthquake, we're not too sure yet. Measuring quite a bit on the Richter on a scale, striking Dominica. The epicenter we will locate probably 26 miles east of Dominica. Generally, we're going to be concentrating the exercise around the financial center area in Roseau and other areas, and we are hoping that we will get the cooperation of all our players and our partners in executing the exercise.
The exercise will test the executive decision-making progress within disaster management and selected ministries.
To test existing communication systems within the government ministries, to test the national command and control systems in managing major events and incidents, to test the operations of an advanced medical post, to test the Princess Margaret Hospital preparedness in managing mass casualty events, and to test the response time, capacities, and capabilities of supporting national emergency agencies, such as the Office of Disaster Management, the Fire and Ambulance Services, the Health Sector, the Red Cross, and the Police and Fire Services Department.
Red Cross will be assisting with the use of the equipment. And in more news, the Dominica Football Association, DFA, is hosting an Olympic Solidarity Academies coaching course from December 5th to 9th. President of the Dominica Olympic Committee, DOC, Mr. Felix Wilson, says he is pleased to be part of this committee because he sees a lot of stored potential.
The Dominica Football Association is doing the work that it was asked to do, to serve football and footballers, but more particularly the development of football in Dominica. I have just come from a symposium organized by the United States Olympic Committee. It was a symposium for all the Americas, that is to include the Caribbean, South and North America.
Mr. Wilson says one of the major factors in sports development is coaching.
But academies, I would like to think you who are charged with the responsibility of guiding them, your role will be that of coaching, mentorship, and you will be held responsible. Because I'm saying that you will be the major factor in determining the development of the young people that you will serve. So I'm asking that you take this course very seriously. I see a lot of literature in front of you, and that makes me smile. Because, let's be fair, each one of you would probably like to walk through those streets with all those books.
President of DFA, Mr. Gwen Etienne, says this course is another clear demonstration of their continued commitment to the further development of football on the island.
We will all appreciate that football coaching is a key component of any football developmental program, and as such, it must be given the necessary attention that it deserves. We in the DFA are of the firm view that if football is to make any meaningful strides, then those who are given the responsibility to impact knowledge must be adequately equipped. Hence, this is the reason for you being here today.
Mr. Etienne says DFA has staged many courses and over 400 individuals have trained. He says a lot of times energy and scarce resources has been extended in the process.
Where are those coaches who have received the training? What contribution have been made to the further development of football on the island? I must say that a handful is still actively involved, and they must be commended for the commitment and desire to see the sport move forward. Participants, coming out of that course, it is my desire to see a revamping of the Coaches Association.
There are 23 course participants, and the course will be instructed by Mr. Kenton John. President of the Dominica Cancer Society, Mrs. Vina Royer, has lauded the support of CIBC First Caribbean International Bank for the Dominica Cancer Society. The bank recently presented a check of $3,375 to the society for its continued work in assisting people with the illness find treatment. In presenting the check, Mrs. Rona Lawrence said that the money represented amounts of collected from staff during the Walk for Cure, which was organized by the society earlier this year, which amount was matched by the bank and a further donation from the bank. Mrs. Lawrence said that this was just the beginning, since the bank hopes to make the walk an annual event. In receiving the donation, Mrs. Royer thanked the bank for its support and said the cash will go to a long way in assisting people who had to go overseas for treatment of cancer. She disclosed that so far this year the society has sent 12 people overseas for treatment at a tremendous cost to the society. Mrs. Royer added that she was looking forward to a long and fruitful relationship with the bank.
For the first time, cricket commentator Joseph Thomas umpires a regional cricket tournament. On Wednesday, December 5th, he was an umpire for the match between Dominica and St. Lucia as part of the Windward Islands cricket tournament. Mr. Thomas says his work as an umpire involves a lot of preparation way before the game can actually begin.
Lots of things that the umpire has to do before game starts. When he gets to the ground, he's supposed to get there very early. Like in this case, I'm here early. The game is supposed to start at 9 o'clock. I was here from 7. And there are lots of things that I have to do, ensure that the pitch is properly marked, ensure that the boundary boards are there, ensure that the covers are moved off. Lots of things to do before the match starts. You don't do those things 2 minutes before the game starts. You've got to do them prior to the game starting.
Mr. Thomas has been a cricket commentator for many years, and he's very excited to officiate his first of such tournaments. He has always loved sports, especially cricket, and he hopes to continue being a part of it for many years to come.
And the thing about umpiring is that there was this thought that the groundsmen are supposed to hand over to the umpire. Once the umpire gets to the ground, it doesn't matter what time he gets there, as long as he gets there before, or he should get there before really, he takes command of what is happening. So he can give directives to the ground staff, to the groundsmen. Hey, look, I want to see, a little marking here. I want to see a little marking there. I want the stumps to be properly erected, that sort of thing. He's got to make contact with the ground officials as well, make contact with the scorers, make contact with the scoreboard. Lots of work to be done.
On Wednesday, December 5th, SAS TV was there with Mr. Thomas to have a better feel for his role at the match. He gave his command to the other people involved in preparing the field. We also saw the two teams, Dominica and St. Lucia, warming up for the match. Mr. Thomas is not new to umpiring, but just wanted to put his best foot forward and represent other umpires.
give good representation of the umpires as far as the game is concerned. Make sure that the decisions are adhered to, make sure that the laws of the game are adhered to, make sure that just about everything goes right as far as the officiating of the game is concerned.
And in more news, St. Anne's and St. Paul's Parish Priest, Father Franklin Coffey, has informed SAT TV News of the new cemetery that is being used for St. Anne's and St. Paul's residents. In 2001, the Massac Cemetery was shut down due to congestion by the Environment Department for 2 years.
As far as I know, no improvement was done to the Massac Cemetery then, and this is 12 years later. So, and of course, almost every year we have between 20 deaths and so on happening in the parish. When I took over the parish last August, I began using the northern end of the same spot, which was not used as a cemetery then.
He stated that 27 years ago, the Nassif Company donated 5 acres of land to the village council to be used as a parish. According to the parish priest, 3.6 acres of that area was given to the Catholic Church. Father Coffey says lately it has become impossible to bury anyone at the Massac Cemetery due to the amount of garbage as well as the congestion.
12 years later, we have come to a situation where we found it impossible. In fact, I had one funeral where we had to bury somebody. When I went for the act ceremony, there was water in the grave, and I said, well, no, this cannot continue. And recently, the area we are using on the northern part of the Massac Cemetery is very hilly, very, even going there was risky.
He says he was informed from one of the funeral homes that the approval has not been given for any burial to take place at the Mao Cemetery.
I understood that Mr. Scotland, Anthony Scotland of the environment actually came on site and told the people they are not allowed to bury in the cemetery. But we have the documents from with us from physical planning, notice of approval to establish a cemetery at Maho. Okay, and this was done since in 2001. So this document under section 31, Physical Planning Act 5 of 2001. So we actually got the permission.
Father Coffey says the bishop was informed by Mr. Williams of the issue and then brought it to his attention. He says in the parish file there was a document indicating that they applied for permission to use the Mao Cemetery, however it expired in 2001.
But the lawyer informed me that the document I had expired since the cemetery should have been established 5 years later. So this was updated, and it's on the basis of this document, which is under the last paragraph say, the cemetery site is therefore established with the understanding that its development will be in accordance with the approved plans. Unless that situation changes, there is no need to reapply for planning permission. So I think that gives us enough strength to continue. I know the people in the parish are very, very excited.
The new cemetery will be referred to as St. Paul's Holy Cemetery. This has been the local segment of the news. Coming up next, regional highlights.